All right, so now we're on the rear, jacked up again, tires off. These drums typically need a little persuasion to come off, a little hammer, and beat around here where it hits on the hub and not up here. You can warp the drum. These have already been off last week when I did the inspection, so they come off pretty easy. Set that aside, and remember there will be brake dust in here. Just be careful breathing that stuff in. It's not the best. Let me show you what it looks like. So right here is the main retaining spring. It holds both of them on with one long W-shaped spring. And then you have this is the adjuster spring. The adjuster's here. The adjuster gear is right here. And then the wheel cylinder, of course. So the best way to pop these off is to just get a pry bar right in here and just pull up and it'll pop. I like to get this spring off first because once that pops, these like to slough over and it makes this spring a little harder to get off. So take the spring off of its adjuster arm here, just with a pair of pliers or whatever you got to grab onto it, pull it, take it off, then pop this. So that'll come off. You can always take a picture of it. That way you know how things laid out and how they all go back. You also have the other side you could take off and use that as a reference. So that's off. So now we can just pop this and it all comes apart. So disassembly is actually pretty quick and easy. Putting it back together is not too bad either. But so now the adjuster, we want to just back it all the way out, clean off the threads real good. Some people will lubricate the threads, some won't. I'll leave that to your choice. So now the hardest part of this whole job is getting the emergency brake off. I'll show you a trick that I've found to be really effective and quick. We'll go inside the vehicle and we'll pull the emergency brake up all the way as it is right here. And what that does is the emergency brake spring gets sucked in. Then you take a pair of vice grips and there's a bracket back here that you can pinch the spring to. I'll show you when it's all done. There we go. Let me show you. So that little bracket right there you can see, and I'm pinching the spring to the bracket just with a pair of vice grips. Doesn't have to be ridiculously tight, but just tight enough to hold it. Now I'll go inside, release the emergency brake, and that will allow the cable right here to slide out while the spring is being held in place. So I release the emergency brake, and now you can pull on the cable, and now the spring is back from, let me show you. So now the spring is held back and it's not up tight against this. And then really this just comes right out. I can't do it one-handed, but I can do it two-handed, but it just comes out of its slot. And you have a lot more. You're not fighting that spring the whole time you're doing it. And then putting it back together is just the opposite. And then we'll release our vice grips and springs back tight up against it. There we go. Now there is a right and a left on the side that has the emergency brake, so just remember that. The new ones aren't marked. The old ones have an R and an L. Maybe your new ones may have an R and an L, but either way, just remember you can line them up which one came off. So there's a right and a left. On the other side, they're ambidextrous. It doesn't matter which side these go on. Just the one with the emergency brake or parking brake. So we'll put that back on. Easy peasy. And then we can release our emergency brake clamp. And that's it. Nice and tight. Now for the backing, anywhere that it touches, you can see with these little rust spots, that's where it is touching. We can put a little lube on those places. Doesn't take a lot, little anti-seize. Make sure your hands are clean from any anti-seize before handling the shoe. This is the second complicated part, but really it's not too bad. Put the end right here into the shoe. Put the bottom into its spot. It may fall out on you a couple times, but that's okay. There we go. Okay, so this side is in its little slot. The bottom or the middle is in its little spot. Now I like to use a tool like this, spark plug or a hose pliers, and let me pull you around. So now I can take these and just pinch over the top of this little U-shaped end, and now I can pull on it while the other shoe is going on. Let me back you up a little close. Then we can put our shoe on and pull. put it in place just like that, and then tap on it to lock it in. So now the shoes are on, and then we'll just squeeze the shoes together on this wheel cylinder. All right, now we're ready for our adjuster to go on. Adjuster arm. Then last, our adjuster spring. Now there's two holes up here. It's not the fat close hole, but it's the farther one away. All right, so now we can adjust it. We'll put our drum back on. Go inside the vehicle and push on the brakes. Make sure the other side drum is on as well. Push on the brakes, and that'll center up the shoes inside here. Then we can make the final adjustments. Now with a flathead screwdriver, we can adjust it out. Just until we start to feel a little drag. If there's too much drag or it's hard to put the drum back on, then that's too far. We can back it back out. All right, and then make sure your emergency brake works and give it a good try and make sure it locks up, and we are good to go. After everything's done, take it for a spin, 35 miles an hour, come to a nice, good, solid stop, so you kind of go forward. You don't want to lock the brakes up, but you can kind of feel a nice slow down. I do that about 5 or 6 times. Don't overheat the brakes, but do it a few times and your brakes should be good to go. All right, be safe. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.